All right, so you may have seen this report that Charles Gasparino, who is a Wall Street Fox Business News reporter, supposedly had a scoop that Barack Obama was getting ready to speak out against Bernie Sanders if it started to appear that. And very shortly after that, I know Sam Stein had called basically said, I contacted people in Obama's camp and they just laughed at the whole idea. But here is Charles Gasparino going on Stuart Varney's show. And one wonders what's behind this, but here it is.
Okay, what's going on here?
Listen, Obama clearly is telling people, we should point out that President Obama has a lot of friends on Wall Street. Okay, right. People that work in finance. I mean, remember, President Obama, I actually broke the story a couple of years ago where I think one of his first post-presidential speeches was to a Wall Street firm, Cantor Fitzgerald. Got paid $400,000. So he's not, Wall Street, he has connections there. Those guys speak with me. What I understand, those folks who have spoken with him, is he is really worried about Bernie Sanders.
What's wrong with Sanders?
Too far left.
Okay.
Not quite the guy you want to unify a party. He's an ununifying guy. I mean, I think Hillary Clinton kind of laid out the sort of consensus on Bernie Sanders. Can't work with him, nasty, the whole thing behind the scenes. Obama feels a lot of that way. And I think where it's interesting here, and listen, I actually think Obama's not going to say anything, and here's why. He would literally be, and he's a smart politician, he would literally be putting his finger into the hornet's nest and just letting it go. I mean, it would be crazy. He might say something sort of broad like he did.
He doesn't have to say it publicly.
So he's walking back his own story there, apparently, that he was reporting. In other words, that is a great way to report on something like that.
I heard something.
No, it's like, I'll tell you something. He's going to say something, but I think he probably won't say anything. And I just want to be able to report that.
Do you think the story is less that Obama might actually speak out against Bernie Sanders and more that a bunch of people are desperately trying to get him to?
I think it's probably, I find it very hard to believe that he would speak out against any candidate for fear that they would end up being the nominee, and that in some way Obama would be used to help midwife another Donald Trump presidency. But I got to say, if I was a campaign advisor to Bernie Sanders, if I could pay money to have Charlie Gasparino go on Fox Business and say, everybody on Wall Street is afraid of, wants Bernie Sanders gone. I would pay money.
I also, and if Obama does, it will be something, we will not say Sanders' name. And it will be like, there's a lot of different changes and many different people in the country, and it's a complicated country. It'll be so vague that it'll be clear who it's aimed at, but it won't have any real punch. And then Bernie will do what he usually does, which is smart, which is basically, so I agree with Barack Obama. We do need to reach out to people, or, whatever. But
I also like
Jim Messina's probably planting it. I mean, Messina's the most vociferous publicly of the Obama people.
It would make sense that it's coming from, Biden's camp, or, from any of the from Warren's camp or from Buttigieg's camp. I mean, it would make sense that anybody else would be putting it out, although it's just a very odd way to leak that, right? Like, why would you try and push that through Wall Street connections? That's the worst place you could go.
That's kind of why I think it's Messina. I mean, if you look at Jim Messina, his client list is conservative parties over. My point is, when Jim Messina comes out and says on Morning Joe that Bernie is the worst candidate, I think his genuine self-delusion and client list is merging into in an overdetermined way.
Right. But still, I mean, how dumb do you have to be like, honestly?
There's people who think that Mike Bloomberg is the right person to reach out to disenchanted working class voters. But a lot of dumb people out there.
That's okay, but that doesn't saying that does not help anybody else. Like this would be like the functional equivalent of saying, I don't know, the Iranian Guard doesn't want.
No, I'm saying there's some people who I think Jim Messina might be the type of guy that actually thinks like, well, they'll see that there are people on Wall Street who they know and respect. That's what I'm saying. I think some of these people are truly delusional.
They're gonna, this will peel off some of Sanders.
By the way, I've heard that the Iranian Guard, and this is tough for me because of my respect for them, is not a big fan of Bernie Sanders. I've been hearing that from many sources.
That's a real shame.
They've been considering making a comment on him.
Also, like in every headline that I saw, it was framed in an interesting way. And it wasn't framed as saying, you shouldn't vote for Bernie because he's going to lose to Trump. It was framed as Obama saying, you shouldn't vote for Bernie because of the direction he's going to take the country in. And there's a compliment in there because it kind of assumes that he's going to win.
Yes, if he wins, yes, I guess. I mean, but I don't know. I just think that like if you were trying like where. I just think that's a very strange place to leak this through. Like I honestly like don't know.
We need to get it to the grassroots. Call Gasparino.
Right, exactly. Right, we need to soften up Bernie's support amongst young black voters.
Who do college students admire? Who do they? Stuart Varney. All right, let's get it on the phone.
Stuart Varney's the guy. If we can somehow get this on, if we can get Varney to cover this tonight.
It's a ball right there.
You have a wonderful day, bro, and I'll see you again soon.